Today we are going to talk about your learning abilities. How can you learn faster or take action more easily and learn any skill in a matter of a few months, years, weeks, depends on where you are right now. But more importantly, we are going to talk about self-doubt, which in my opinion is the biggest enemy of learning in general, and consistency. There is nothing else that is as detrimental from what I have seen, both in myself and all the people I have helped over the years. And the thing with self-doubt, which is like, I won't be able to do this, I don't think I will be, I don't think I can, or I just watch others and they seem like they always had this ability, I'm just not born like that, I'm just not confident enough. All those things, it is basically self-doubt. And at the moment you are the most vulnerable to self-doubt is when you are comparing yourself to others, definitely. And with social media, it is the worst of the worst because you're bombarded every day with things that make you feel insecure or angry or upset, because when you are in those states of like insecurity and fear, you are way more alert, you are way more watching much more carefully the thing in front of your eyes, which is the smartphone. And that is what those companies want, because the more you are watching and constantly going to the next content, and the more they can place advertisement in front of your eyes. So the point of social media is to make you feel insecure. So no matter who you are watching that you think is a great role model, it is good to get inspiration, but just be careful of what specific content you are watching, and do you feel elevated and motivated by watching it, or do you feel just more insecure the more you watch? If it is the latest one, maybe switch off the smartphone most of the day, at least the apps on which you are following those people, whoever it is you are following. Just make sure you are learning from a place of motivation, of enjoyment, and not from a place of constant insecurity, of comparing yourself to people who are 10 times ahead of you. The second big trigger of self-doubt is when you just had a loss, you just had one bad result, like you have practiced with this thing you wanted to become a master at, and you were expecting some result, and the result did not happen, or did not happen in the way you were expecting it, or maybe you just received much less than what you thought you would be receiving in terms of the result, the people you have been convincing, or the clients you have been coaching if you're a coach. Whatever is the result you were expecting, whenever you get less than what you were expecting, the self-doubt happens, and all the self-questioning of will I ever be able to do this, to accomplish that. It is just a recurring loop in your head. The last one is when being too focused, way too focused on external results, or just unclear results. Maybe you say, I want more money, I want to develop this skill of Facebook ads, of this skill of coaching people to make more money, but the amount is not clear at all. Like you just say more money, but it is not completely unclear. It is external, and we will get back on this, but putting your motivation only on external results just creates massive anxiety and depression. We will get back on this later. Just having your mind too focused on results that are completely unclear or blurry, or like I will be the best. But what does that mean? The best compared to whom? The best in which type? What are the criteria with which you describe who is the best and who is not the best? What specifically do you mean by that? So a type of result you are chasing or pursuing, but which is not clear at all, and you're not clear with why specifically you want that result, it will just create massive anxiety in yourself, and you will doubt everything you're doing, you will over-intellectualize everything you're reading about the topic, and most likely you will just not take action. So how to prevent all those things from happening? The first big concept is to clarify the intrinsic, the internal metrics you can follow instead of the external metrics you might be pursuing in a bad way. The easiest example is money. If you are learning something in order to make more money in your life, then money is just an external metric. It is not something you can directly influence or act upon. It is a result that can improve in your life if you are taking certain actions. And the goal here is better to clarify which actions specifically can I put. In my business right here, the only actions I can really act upon is which videos or how many videos am I creating and how many courses am I creating. That is the only thing I can really act upon. Then will people buy or not? It's completely outside of my control. I can present offers, but I cannot force people to give me some of their money. So if you only focus on things that you can't control, it will cause massive anxiety and massive depression. Why so many traders or poker players are getting depressed or droning under medication after some years? Because they're just trying to control non-stop things that are completely impossible to control. Things you can influence from some perspective, but you can't directly control those things. You can only control your productivity levels, what you're doing during the practice session or during the trading session in that example, or during the moment where you want to acquire that result. What specifically are you doing during that moment, and how can you optimize that? So on my example, I can optimize the way I do videos, the topics I'm selecting, the way I create my courses. I can optimize that, but trying to optimize exactly the money, it is very unpredictable, and I can have an idea of how much I want to make, but if I focus only on that and not on the actual video, on what type of value you are getting out of this, then I would be completely missing the point and I would be droning under anxiety like it happened in the very beginning when I started this business. So my advice here is, whatever is the thing you are practicing, the thing you want to become great at, the thing you want to master, just clarify specifically what are the actions you can take that will make your level improve. Even if you're after an external result like money or women in your life, or you want to achieve the gold medal in some athletic performance, whatever it is, just the external result, clarify what is the action I can take in order to develop my skills, the skills that can allow me to get to that result. If you are seeing that thing you are dreaming about as just a skill set, and you know the level you want is at level 10, let's say, and develop your level of skills in anything you want to become better with. So clarify, transfer, alternate, make a parallel, an analogy between the result you want and the action that can bring you more skills into this area of competence, into this area of results, whether it is money, the woman you are attracting, whatever it is, the skill you are practicing, music, instruments, becoming a better musician, just bring that back to what can you do on a regular basis, what kind of practice can you have, how can you develop your skill, exactly as if you were doing some martial arts, you're practicing your shadow movements every day like this. You're just practicing. The way I see my courses and videos right now, it is just as a practice. I am practicing developing this skill, because it is a skill, and the more skilled I become, the more money I get. But it is not the main focus. The main focus is, do I create something that really brings value to the people watching? And when you frame it like this, curiously, it removes like 90% of the anxiety already, because your mind is not cluttered anymore into abnormal big results that you are dreaming about. Those things are good to be knowledgeable about. It's okay to know about what is the end result I want, but you're focused on a day-to-day basis. It is coming down to only to this, the difference between should I aim for a big result or just for a small result. Both of them, but the idea is, what are you focusing on day by day? Establishing your big dream result one time when you're doing some goal setting, or you just bought a personal development book and did some exercises to figure out your dream lifestyle. That's great. Once you have done that, then the focus needs to be only on the day-to-day basis. What is the drive you can have? What is the thing you can practice in an enjoyable way on a day-to-day basis? The other aspect of this is that the motivation and the confidence you get is just compounding. The motivation and the ease and the clarity you get of the things you need to do to get better is just compounding down the road, as well as the results. If you are trying to approach a girl in the street and you just get rejected, obviously the more you approach, the less likely you are to be rejected, because you're just getting better at presenting yourself, at making good eye contact. And with money, it is the same thing. You're just practicing skills out of videos or posting ads or whatever you are doing. If you are doing drop shipping or e-commerce, you just practice building websites, building the Facebook ad scripts, all of those things, the copywriting, the right landing pages. It is just skill sets you are developing. The more you're developing those skills, and the more the results are compounding. So in the beginning, you just get very small, minor, micro results that are not really any motivating. But when you start getting good early results, then the motivation comes, because you have past early successes. And there is nothing that builds up your confidence and motivation other than early successes or like past successes. When you have had a past success, whatever it was, just a win, something you have been winning at, so you better choose easy wins in the beginning. When you have gotten one easy win, then you just get way more propelled into practicing more, into doing more. It's just getting easier and the results compound, which means all the skills you have been building on during the process are just making the whole thing easier and are just making the actual end result, whether it is money, woman, whatever, it is just getting that easier. Or if we take that analogy with music, for example, when you're on stage and you make a great performance, same thing. Making a great performance on stage with your musical instrument is an end result, because you have the people around you, you have a lot of external metrics, external things, environment that you can't directly control. For example, since I have been a magician myself, not a musician but a magician, I know that the audience plays a huge part in the magician's confidence, because I have seen some of my friends getting completely disgusted after one show because the audience was terrible, not applauding, nothing, really not reacting, and the person was completely discouraged after the show. And in the end, you can never really control who the audience is. You can control what you're doing, but you can't control how the people are going to react. You can influence it, do the best you can to influence their positive reaction, but you can't force them. So this whole mind frame of competitiveness, where we have to get the result right away, it can be okay on a small extent, but if it is your whole life is based on the big massive result you want to get at the end, it will just cause so much anxiety that you will just get disgusted about the thing you are learning and practicing. So my end advice for this video is, whatever is the thing you are learning, developing, practicing, the question is, what would be an appropriate early win that would make me more confident or relieved about it. An early win is anything like you have gotten a phone number, or you have gotten your first $100 if it is make money online, whatever, or if it is music, I have played in front of one person. Doesn't need to be in front of a whole stage of 500 people, one person already, making a whole song in front of one person. This is an early win. It is not like a big win, it is an early win, but it is an early win that will build the confidence and the motivation to do more, and will make you much more at ease and much more relaxed whenever you will get into remaining new other situations in the future. And this relaxation and ease is what will make you more creative and allow you to adapt to all the other unpredictable effects from your environment, from the clients, from the audience, from whoever or whatever are the outside factors you can't control. You will just deal with all those outside factors way more easily if you have this relaxation and sense of calmness. And this sense of calmness comes with all the past wins you've had. So my question for you right now is related with that thing you are learning, or those big results you want to acquire, linked with skill sets you don't have right now or not as much as you would like. What is the early win you can aim for right now that would really bring up more confidence after having achieved that? Something you can aim for within the next 30 or 60 days. Don't get too high, too far. 30 or 60 days. What is the early win, the easiest win you could aim for right now within the next 30 or 60 days? And then what is the easiest way I can get that early win? Because quite often people are just overcomplexifying. Oh yeah, so if I want this, I must do this and this and this and that. Josh, sorry if you're watching, I just have you in mind right now because you are always overcomplexifying so many steps, for example, but many people are doing that for sure. So just overcomplexifying, you can just bring that down to, if you had to make that in only 3 steps, or only 1 step, even better, but 3 steps if it is not possible to simplify to that extent, just 3 steps. That early win you want to have, if you had to simplify the actions you have to take into only 3 steps, what would they be, for example? Or what is just the easiest way of getting that early win? What is the easiest or the fastest way? The whole idea is just to start building up the motivation, the momentum. Momentum is the confidence you are building, the motivation you are building, the feeling of success you are building because you know you have been doing this. You're like, yeah, I have done that. even if it is not the big massive end of the road, but I have still done that. It is not nothing. And when you have done that, then you build up all the sense of calmness and the mindful quietness that will allow you to better improvise, adapt, understand how to handle way more difficult situations. You will just build up those skills down the road. For example, with entrepreneurship, handling Fortune 500 companies with 300 employees, if you think about that and you haven't even made your first $100 in your business, that's completely irrelevant. You become capable of handling those big, massive levels of pressure when you have been building your skill set the whole time down the road. And at some point, yes, you have the mental calm and quietness and clarity to handle very difficult and very complex situations. But that is built over time. If you just focus on this big end result, you will get disgusted or discouraged or overly anxious. The idea is to have a more, in my opinion, fulfilling and enjoyable life, and for this it is good to aim for smaller results on the short term. As soon as you have gotten one successfully, then you get to the next one, something more challenging. But in the very beginning, get the fastest, earliest, easiest win you can get right now.